I want to start by asking you all a question. What do you need? It seems like a simple question, right? I could list thousands of things on the top of my head. I want a good GPA, a new guitar, maybe even a girlfriend. The list goes on and on and on. But according to the Oxford Dictionary, a need is something that is required because it is essential or very important. So technically, nothing in my list qualifies as a true need. Now, I don't need a good GPA to live or breathe. At least, I hope so. Let me try again. Let's start this question all over again. What? Not what, but who? Who is in need? Who are the people that truly require society's attention? Most of us probably think of those in desperate conditions. People in Africa without access to clean water. Refugees in Palestine living in constant danger. Or maybe those in Burma fighting against a military regime. And yeah, these people definitely need our support. No doubt about that. But today I want to remind you that there are countless of people much closer to us who also need help. People we may not often think about. And I want to focus on that today. In 2022, the Philippine government withdrew its agreements to send 100 domestic workers to South Korea. Why? Because the abusive work environment in the country. Apparently, there was a shadow beneath our country, beneath the economy. Migrant workers face striking discrimination against society, their boss, and their Korean counterparts. When I first read this in the news, I think it was about 5 months ago, I was shocked. Abusive? In my country? It didn't seem possible. It seemed so fantastical. But the reality is different from what many of us might believe. There are approximately 2.52 million foreigners living in South Korea. And around 850,000 of them are migrant workers, primarily from countries like Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and Nepal. And these workers play a crucial role in fueling Korea's economy, especially in industries like agriculture, manufacturing, and textiles. In fact, with Korea's fertility rate plummeting to a record low of 0.72 children per woman, migrant workers are an essential labor force that sustains many of our businesses. For example, 94% of workers in Korea's farming and fishing industries are migrant workers, handling the tough, labor-intensive jobs that locals often avoid. In the manufacturing sector, over 60% of migrant workers are employed, particularly in the small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs as they call. They produce textiles, electronics, and processed metals. They form the backbone of many industrial jobs that require extensive and manual labor. Construction is also a heavy industry that relies on foreign labor. With 20% of the workforce consisting of migrants, especially of those from countries like Uzbekistan and Nepal. But despite their enormous contribution, many migrant workers face appalling conditions. According to a report by the Amnesty International, 70% of migrant workers experience wage theft, where they are not paid their full wages or denied overtime. Additionally, 31.8% of migrant workers report being paid below the minimum wage, despite doing the same work as their Korean counterparts. The physical toll of these jobs is immense, and the dangers are often overlooked. The migrant workers account for 22% of all workplace fatalities in South Korea, even though they make a smaller portion of the workforce. Many of these accidents occur because migrant workers are assigned to the most hazardous tasks without proper safety support. They are discriminated in their working environments. But the abuse doesn't stop at the workplace. Now, around 30% of migrant workers report experiencing verbal or physical abuse from their employers or co-workers. This can include racial slurs, harassment, and even violence. In some cases, migrant workers are provided with substandard housing, such as makeshift dormitories or shipping containers. In 2001, the death of a Cambodian worker named Soknam in a freezing dormitory revealed just how dire these living conditions for migrant workers can be, though. So, substandard housing is not a solution to this problem. What about other solutions? There is the Employment Permit System, or EPS in Korea, and while it is designed to legally bring migrant workers into the country, this law just eventually further restricts their rights. Under the EPS, workers are tied to one employer, and they cannot easily switch jobs even in cases of abuse. If they want to change employers, migrant workers need approval, which most of the time is denied. The system leaves them trapped in an exploitative situation with little legal resources. Social discrimination is another prevailing issue for migrant workers. In Korea, where over 95% of the population is ethnically Korean, migrant workers often feel like outsiders. A survey conducted by the National Human Rights Commission of Korea found that 67% of migrant workers reported of experiencing discrimination in their daily lives. They are often excluded from social integration programs, and language barrier further alienates them from communities they work in. But that is not the main reason why I'm here talking today. Despite these challenges, migrant workers are not silent. I had the chance to meet Mr. Uda Rai, the chairman of the migrant trade union in Korea, and his passion for change was pretty reveral. And since 2005, the union has been fighting to improve conditions for migrant workers, advocating for stronger labor protections and policy reforms. They have been pushing for changes to the EPS to allow workers more freedom to change employers, and they demand fair wages and safer working conditions. The problem is not that migrant workers aren't raising a voice. Their problem is not that they're not working for their rights. But the problem is that their voice is too small. They try. Migrant workers work hard for their rights. But in a country as homogeneous as Korea, their efforts are often, or most of the time, drowned out. And these workers are part of our society. They contribute to the growth of our industries, yet they are marginalized and denied the attention they deserve. It is only when we, the majority, the Korean ourselves, take action of those things, then it will change. This issue of migrant workers is not a problem for migrant workers alone, but it's a significant societal problem. And if we ignore it, it will only grow. So I say it's time to give these workers their moment on the podium. I had my podium, and they have a voice, so let them speak.